David Lynch passed away at the age of 78 on the 15th of January 2025, just 5 days short of his 79th birthday. It took me a few days to process this news once I took a moment to reflect on the effect that Lynch has had on me. I cried, which is something I don't often do when a famous artist dies. I didn't know him, obviously, and whenever famous actors or filmmakers or musicians pass away, I can often be affected by them or sad about them, but it's usually pretty easy to put things like that into perspective and to just enjoy their music or films or whatever they created. But it's pretty rare that a famous artist passing has this kind of effect on me. The fact that someone on the other side of the world who didn't even know me could have such a profound effect on me it's truly a special thing. He was one of the greats, no doubt. There are only a handful of artists that I can say have actually helped to shape my worldview. Lynch's work has influenced me so much that I cannot hide from it when I try to create anything myself. I was in high school when one of my teachers recommended Twin Peaks to me. I went home that night and binge watched most of the first season, and I was forever changed. From then on, the films, songs, and drawings, anything that I created, were steeped in Lynchian themes and imagery. The fact that Lynchian is a term just shows how deep his river runs. That there is a term to describe when something even mildly evokes his style. That shows how unique he was. There are so many modern filmmakers that are inspired by him. His impact is immense. After watching Twin Peaks Season 1 and 2 and the brilliant Fire Walk with Me, I went on to discover films such as Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, and they took up permanent residency in my mind. There are films of his that I have yet to watch because I just didn't want to run out of Lynch material so quickly. He doesn't have a large body of work, and I've always wanted to be ready for certain films, to watch them when it felt like the right time, the right age, the right place. And now that he is gone, it honestly feels like the right time to watch all of his films. I just feel immediately compelled to just watch all the ones that I haven't seen, and thankfully I can experience them on the big screen, as multiple cinemas near me will be showing them, which is really fantastic. Despite this desire to finally finish his filmography, I have already started rewatching Twin Peaks again, even though I've rewatched it over and over since I was a teenager. I have hoped for a fourth season of Twin Peaks, and I am sad that we will never get to see that. We are all sad that we can never experience more art from him. However, it is of course his family and friends that are the ones to have empathy for here. They have lost an important person in their lives who was more than just the work that he did. I can only honour him and grieve him through airing my thoughts here, as many others have done. Twin Peaks is my favourite show of all time. The marriage of soap opera acting, 50s jazz and fashion aesthetics with a horrifying murder mystery is a cocktail only Lynch could concoct. Many actors attribute their careers to him, and you only have to watch behind the scenes videos to see how beautifully he worked with actors. He collaborated with them as a friend, and he cared for them. He was an eccentric, larger-than-life person that enjoyed the finer things in life. All of his work conveys that as well. Even amongst the dirt of the world, there are flowers. That was essentially his message. Focus on the donut, not the hole. It's a famous quote from him. Only someone as quirky as him could say something so silly and yet brilliant. Lynch was a true artist that fought against the corporate studio system and made what he wanted to make. He was inspirational. I respect that he was uncompromising. He was in the business for the right reasons. Sometimes I don't know what his work means, but I know how it makes me feel, and that's exactly how he wanted his work to be experienced. One of my favorite quotes of his is, "I don't know why people expect art to make sense. They accept the fact that life doesn't make sense." He didn't want to talk about the meaning of his films because it is the films themselves that do the talking. He was a funny, intelligent, spiritual, sad, and joyful man, and he embraced all of that and gifted the world with his wisdom and humor. There are too many beautiful quotes, so to avoid listing them off, I encourage you to go and listen to any interview of his or read some quotes online. I feel lucky to have lived at the same time as this man and to get to experience his work in his time. I remember watching Twin Peaks: The Return as it was airing every week for months and just being mesmerized by it, and I know that I will revisit it for the rest of my life, and I will always have new thoughts and feelings about it. I think there's something very individual about how one connects with David Lynch's work. When I was in high school, I felt like I had this special little nugget of information that others didn't have, that I knew about all these really cool films and these shows and just this stuff that he had done that was off kilter, that a lot of people would have found hard to digest. But then I've also loved showing this stuff to people and having people tell me about things that he's said and just enjoy the work together and ponder it. I could talk about David Lynch and his art for hours, but I will wrap up this video now by simply saying thank you, David. Thank you for letting us into your world from time to time. Thank you for teaching us about love, loss, grief, beauty, sadness, and joy. You have changed my life. Thanks to you, I will always remember every day, once a day, to give myself a present. I won't plan it, I won't wait for it, I'll just let it happen. It could be a new shirt at the men's store, or a cup of good hot black coffee. And if it is, I'll make sure it is as black as midnight on a moonless night.